Hey, what's up? It's Mike from Purple Sky Blues. Thanks for joining. Today we're going to do another Throwback Thursday episode. Bloodbirds formed in summer of 2011 when Anna moved back from Philadelphia. So that summer we'd set up and practice in the living room of Brooke and I's little yellow house over off State Line. Now there was nothing set, we'd switch instruments, Anna had just gotten a bass, and eventually she brought in what became the bass line and song structure for Revolver. At the beginning of September, we decided to take it more seriously and we got a shared practice space that we dubbed the Practice Cabin. It was this cool little freestanding garage in a gravel road alley, kind of surrounded by a little field and some trees near downtown Kansas City. Now, we shared this space with a few other bands, and so we had our designated night or two a week that we could go down there and practice, but there was a hard 10 p.m. curfew. So once we got into the practice cabin, we started a new routine where we'd play covers, we'd jam, we'd mess around, but we recorded everything on a little stereo Tascam handheld recorder that I have. So that was our writing process. We'd jam, we'd record it, splice parts together. Even on night recordings, there's parts that were spliced together for the final recording. At the time, we were listening to a lot of Spacemen 3, Rocky Erickson. I was having a Sonic Youth revival, which I do every few years, Faust, and so that's the kind of stuff that was informing and influencing what we were doing. Now, early on, we did a few covers. The ones I can remember are Anna sang Mona by Bo Diddley. We did Warsaw by New Order and Dirty Boots by Sonic Youth, but just in a standard tuning. So leading up to Bloodbirds, I'd played in Ad Astra Orchestra and Ad Astra Paraspora for almost 10 years. Both those bands I used alternative tunings, and I played kind of these technical parts that I sang over. I was pretty tired of doing that, so I wanted to do something more straightforward and familiar sounding. And also at some show, somebody said, "Hey, I noticed you never bend notes." And so that stuck with me. And so at the beginning of Bloodbirds, I wanted to get comfortable, ripping a solo and bending some notes. And so that's very much what I was going for early on. I'd stripped my pedal board back to only having, I think, my Proco Rat pedal and whatever reverb pedal I was using at the time. So it was very, very straightforward. Anna and I worked at the college, at Johnson County Community College in the theater, and Brooke was a teacher, so we had the whole week of Thanksgiving off, and we targeted that as our time to record. So that week, we had a few nights available at the practice cabin. People were out of town for the holiday. We borrowed some mics, some gear. I think we had a pair of Neumann KM184s for the drum overheads. I think we had an Audix D6 for the kick, probably an i5 for the snare, some Sennheiser 604s for the toms. I'm sure I used a 609 on the guitar and probably a 421 on the bass. And then we also set up the Tascam because it had a really gnarly sound, had a really hard limiter on it. And for vocals, I just sang through the PA, so all the vocals on the recording, I think maybe there's one overdub on a song or one harmony on a song, but everything else is just the vocals coming out the PA into the drum overhead, so it sounds kind of buried and pretty gnarly. So everything was done live. We didn't really do any overdubs or punch-ins or anything, so we would record, and then probably every song had anywhere from 15 seconds to a couple minutes kind of edited out as we mixed it down, just for continuity and brevity's sake, because these go long. And during the recording of the last song, Scraping, it was getting close to 10 o'clock, maybe it was a couple minutes after 10 p.m., that cutoff time, and we thought we'd get away with it because it was the last song we were doing. And at the beginning of the second verse, you can hear everything kind of just drops out. There's a face over in the window, an angry face, and somebody knocking on the window, pointing at their watch, saying, "Hey, it's time to cut it out." We felt bad. We went and left them a note, but we got kicked out of the practice cabin over it. So ended up moving to this place that had once been like an assisted living facility, literally a room with two lights where the beds had once been, and a closet with a sink. It had been the bathroom for that room, probably back, I'm guessing, the 60s or 70s. Just terrible vibes. And it's probably partially why our songs got a lot darker after we moved into there. So for night recordings, Anna designed and printed the covers. It was the moon with the kind of some liner notes and a lyric collage on the back. We just made 50 tapes. I think we played our first show in December at Focal. It was when it was still upstairs. I think we had a show at the Replay in Lawrence a few weeks later. Probably by our second or third show, all 50 were gone. Our objective in Bloodbirds early on was to write, record, release as much stuff as we could, as quickly as we could. And that's partially in response to the years and years I spent at Astra, where we kind of carefully crafted these songs, and we'd take 3 months to write a song and get all the parts right. This was very much more of a just churn it out, and just move on. So really in Bloodbirds, through our 2.5 years of existence, by the time we put out a tape or a record, I mean, definitely the record, we were already very tired of playing those songs, and we'd moved on to something else. And I'd counted at one point a few years ago, I think in the 2.5 years we were banned, we had 50 plus songs that we did, not including any covers. So, and almost everything was recorded. Anyway, that's the story that nobody asked to hear about the recording of Night Recordings by Bloodbirds in 2011. I'll play it for you now. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.